The Twins game. Maybe
We'll go to a day game.
Let's go.
It's taking a while. Here we go.
I'll buy the
Meet
hot.
Wags at
Here
his
we go.
office and
We're
walk
live
over.
on Twitter, boys.
I'll buy the hot dogs.
We're live.
We're live.
We're live.
We're live.
We're live.
Let's go.
We're live.
What do you think of that, Wags? Walk down to HQ. Live
Okay,
Barn.
don't take off your hats.
Live Barn
Gotta
US.
Pause it. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
You ready? Are you ready?
Listo.
What's the volume?
Well, welcome back to the Meta Sports League studios. We got the regulars in the is outs today. We got Wags, JC, LTs, and Peanut. I think this one's going to be a hot one. A really, really hot one.
In and out.
Half,
But
half
then
of
again-
us are perfectly manicured.
Yeah, and half of you are perfectly sober.
And hey, behind
gonna
the
be
scenes,
hot.
let's
gonna be
not
hot.
forget behind the scenes here we got Doc in the house.
Okay, hey.
Somebody's got your other phone.
Yeah, it's me.
It's all good.
Well, I want to ask this group a question first.
Oh boy.
Can we start a
All get
show
along?
with everybody just shutting up? Like, is it
not
possible?
possible. That's not
when he
possible.
says we're live that we just shut up?
I think I was-
it's not possible.
I was the only one that was quiet.
I think-
I was quiet too. I had my phone because I was reposting on X this amazing live show. I mean, we've got tons of things that we could open with. What?
This is going to get fun.
It sounded
I can already see it in Wags' eyes.
sounded
Here's today's show. I
sarcastic.
came in quiet. Here's today's show. We're going to start with the good. We're going to go to the bad. We're going to go to the ugly.
Okay.
I got ugly.
And then we'll...
What's after ugly?
Then we're going to close with the good again. We're going to go
I like that.
positive,
Okay, I like
negative,
that.
You're gonna
super
sandwich it.
negative,
Sandwich it.
crushing, and
Sandwich
then
it.
we're going to come back to positive.
You know what? I really like that because
I
that
got the
approach is always a feel good at the end to
Leave everybody feeling good.
Are you talking about a happy ending?
Well, that's his. Didn't you get your nails done recently?
Just like you, but here, put them up there. Mine don't shine and glisten. Enough of the nail talk.
That's weird. Neither do mine.
No, yours are good. though. Yours are good. Enough of the nail talk.
Yes, thank you.
We were talking
You should
about
do it.
bidets. And that
Oh,
whole-
okay.
So,
Oh.
LTs, what was your first exposure to a bidet, and did you use it?
I will tell you right now, God's honest truth, and I'm black and white. I just tell you how it is. There has never been a bidet use on my part.
Really?
Correct.
But have you been around one?
I can honestly say no, not enough to even.
Okay.
Maybe once, and it was like, oh, look at my parents' toilet, and I'm like, oh, what's that?
they had one?
Not my parents. Like I had a friend's house.
oh, yeah.
So no,
Were-
if my parents had one, I'd probably.
Were they
for
foreign
sure use it.
nationals? Because it's usually not
They
an
were
American thing.
They were Jewish
Okay, were they from Israel or wherever?
originally.
Okay, so they were foreign national. No, I mean, did they move
I don't know
over?
what you're getting at, but
Well, what
anyways.
I'm saying is every other country
Yeah.
has a
Okay.
bidet.
Okay. Weird.
So if they lived in Israel, did they move here as adults? Was my question. Let me rephrase.
I don't know.
Okay.
Let's
Have
edit
you
this
ever
part.
used a bidet?
Of
You
course
know what
he
it
has.
is, do you?
It's the one with the
You squirt water
in
up
the-
your ass.
to clean
Cleans
that
it
thing
out.
out.
It's better
Yeah.
than toilet paper because all toilet paper
It
does
just
is
clogs
jam
shit
the
up.
shit right back
It
up
just
in.
clogs it up.
All you do is wipe it. You have a
Oh,
pinch
God.
off.
Then you
and
get the
keep
Roto-Rooter
wiping
out.
and wiping and
Get the
wiping.
extender
you
out.
bury through. Someone decided it was a good idea. Oh, we better get toilet paper
tell 'em you
because we're
have.
going to run out of
For
toilet
any-
paper during COVID.
For
Who
anyone
decided
tuning
that
in-
anyway? Where did that
For
come
anyone
from?
tuning in, they're
I don't
getting
know.
traumatized right
I
now.
wanna- I wanna
Did
know.
Layla stock up toilet paper in your household during COVID?
Oh, you know she did.
We never ran out. We were never
Like it was never a
challenged.
problem.
No, we were never. I think because we shop at Costco.
Oh.
you always
Oh,
have
so
like a
you
year's
fall
always
supply.
have
into,
extra.
you fall into the volume trap like everybody else.
He's buying
Well,
volume.
I've got a lot of children.
Yeah, he has
I
like
know,
6
but
kids.
I've got a big theory. They wouldn't sell in volume if they weren't making money. I'm convinced whoever buys, in your case, like
Pete.
you're going to consume more than you would if you didn't.
Pete,
Because
Pete.
you don't ration.
But my neighbors did get a
I wanna know
bidet
about the bidet.
installed
Yeah.
during. Hold on. During COVID,
Yeah.
so they wouldn't have to worry about that. And now they love it. And
That's
I've
smart.
been over at their
That's
house and they'll
smart.
go, "Do you want to use it?" And I'm like, I feel like it's like using your toothbrush or
Right,
something.
right,
Yeah,
right.
It's
it's just water.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
I know it.
But
It's a wrong
poop
thought.
is spraying.
But it feels
Just
very
spray poop.
personal.
Have you thought about
Spray
it?
poop.
Well, it's just like I don't want to have them come down after I would use it, and then they'd go.
They give
So
you
how
a key to
was
the
it?"
house.
I don't
Oh,
want-
they thought you put it in play.
Yeah,
And you said
yeah.
I didn't know what to
Yeah.
dry up with, right? Like, I'm not gonna
I didn't know where to
fucking-
put it.
I'm not going to use your towels.
How
Like, what am I
about
gonna-
how about
Yeah.
I only had to pee?
Okay, let's go to Doc. You seem like a worldly guy. World.
Oh,
travel.
you know he's used a hose
You-
before.
you fired one up
once.
there?
Only once, and it was a family in Edina that you would never think would
So you dropped
would
a
have
deuce?
a debate. Or what?
It's a
Bidet.
duvet.
Bidet.
Bidet duvet.
Dubé.
Or a duvet.
Or
PA
a
and duvet.
So you laid a,
So-
so,
so
you
what
went
was
to
your
your neighbor's
reaction?
house and laid a deuce?
What was your reaction?
Who does that?
No, I didn't actually.
do.
I just tried it.
Of course you do.
Well, what'd you,
You
think
just-
of it? Did-
I was like,
What happened?
what? I didn't like it.
Did you feel
I didn't
cleansed?
like it. I didn't like it.
Okay,
I
my
didn't
first
like it.
exposure was I was probably about 23. I was at the Embassy Suites here in Bloomington. We used to have our fantasy hockey league drafts, and they're like executive suite that had a conference room. It was unreal, just alcohol flying like it's out of control. And I went to go drop an El Duque. And I walk in there and I'm like, what is this? Like, I didn't even know what it was. And I go, hey, Bart, to Bart Archer, what is it? It's a bidet. I go, what do you do with it? He goes, you stick it up, you'll be clean. I'm like, okay, I'll give her a shot. So, of
course.
So I open it up, but I made a mistake. You know what my mistake was, Doc? You know what it was?
Tell me.
I went way too hard on the pressure. It nearly it came out like a
Gave you
fire
an
hose.
enema?
It nearly launched. Yeah, it nearly launched me to the ceiling. I was like, "Whoa, never again."
Well,
so what I've
that's
I've
a good
come
bidet
to,
then.
What
That's
I've
a good
come
one.
to is I've got a makeshift version now.
The hose?
The shower head.
There you go.
No, you don't.
Just jump
should
right in
try
the
it.
shower.
I go out to the backyard in the summer and just use the hose.
That's funny. I just don't
And you
wipe.
know what? The
What the
wonderful
fuck are you
thing
guys
is,
talking about?
as your-
After the
You guys are
sunset.
fucking sick
But as your
fucks.
fecal matter drops, as we saw in that most recent
Are you
TikTok,
listening to
the critters and animals will stay away from your fecal matter because you've marked your territory. Good job.
Okay, so whoever's listening to this, don't do that.
We are so sorry that we're not talking about sports yet.
Okay, let's start with the good. The Minnesota Timberwolves, absolutely amazing.
Backyard hose?
Oh, God.
This is the DigiFan
Yeah, some poor
podcast.
son of a bitch is going to be like working the lawn service. He's going to want to have a quick drink out of the hose. Oof.
We actually
That
talk
would be
sports.
a bad move. Oh, my gosh.
That's great.
The
Let's
good,
move
the
on.
Minnesota Timberwolves, you know, all they had to do was win out and get the 6th seed because of how everything works with everybody playing each other here in the final 2 games.
And they're on pace for that.
They got to beat Utah tomorrow, and I thought that Memphis game was absolutely awesome. Last night, they had a very undermanned Brooklyn
Squad.
Nets team, and you've got your guy Anthony Edwards taking another technical. Like I can't, dude, I can't.
I think
I
across the
can't.
board, everybody's saying he just needs to grow up a little bit.
Stop.
Well,
I
just
and
relax,
call
chill
it
out.
His behavior is
because
very childish.
If this continues,
It's going to be a problem.
and you have the ability to get a guy like they alleged in a trade for Luka for him, would you make that trade if this if this
100%.
shit doesn't stop?
100%.
Do you?
Yeah, 100%.
Like you just killed your. What if Utah wasn't the worst team in tanking in the West? What if they weren't? What if that was a really good team? You just screwed your team in a game where you're kicking their ass.
Well, how
And
many points has Anthony Edwards
You
get?
bitched up a blue streak. Hang on for a second.
Yeah.
You bitched up a blue streak because they didn't call a foul on one of your
Right,
drives
right,
to the
right.
bucket, and you kept going and you kept going. I'm like, oh my God, they're letting them go. And then you said, where's the fucking call? Okay,
Yeah.
you know what? Like I didn't say you did something for the first 5 minutes of the first quarter. Shut up. How hard is it to not be that stupid and selfish?
and also from a
It's all about him, though.
From
Amen.
It's all about him.
Preach.
It's all
fucking
about him.
Dumb.
It's not. It's not thinking the bigger
Selfish.
picture.
From
Go
a,
ahead.
from a marketing standpoint too, I mean, he's ruining his. He's
100%.
got such
Value.
a great opportunity to have
His brand.
a great image because
brand, his image.
He does
Yeah.
have a fun personality, but he acts like
A kid.
It's all fine and dandy and
He
fun and
acts like
games when
it's
he's
not
winning, right?
a business, and it's a business.
It is.
He needs to act like a pro.
But Jeff, he's all happy and good when things are going right.
yeah.
And then if he doesn't think it's going right his way, then he becomes a whiny bitch.
No, but he
And then if you got a product, why do you want that?
he acts like he's been the best player in every league that he's been in since he was 10 years old.
But let's be honest, who was his teacher? The biggest whiny crybaby bitch in the league.
Yeah.
Who's in New York.
Right. Right.
Right?
We don't want to mention names.
You had 2 on one team.
A-Rod
Now we
needs to
got
talk
one.
to him.
I don't think you can talk to him.
No.
I'm sure he's been talked to a billion times.
I don't think
There's
he-
just
I
this
don't
like
think he cares.
shell of I do what I do, how I want.
He's
I'm
a
me,
because
I'm
he
this.
gets away with it because he's a great player. He puts a
Yeah.
lot of points, 44 points a game.
Oh, he's the face of the league.
and
he's
then
he's
all
heard
of a
that
sudden,
too much.
yes, and that's why he feels
That could be-
entitled
At a very young
and
age.
privileged.
Yeah.
At a very young age.
I do have to say that I saw it from, I believe it was Dana Moore, who does a lot of Minnesota sports coverage. The last time that
Former Hopkins product. Go ahead.
I went Hopkins.
That's why I said. Sorry.
Don't interrupt Peanut.
No, you're good. You're good. The last time that Ant got a tech and had missed a game against Utah.
They lost.
Well,
So I'm hoping
I
that's
know,
not the
well,
case.
but keep in mind, I think Rudy was out and someone else was
Yeah.
out with an injury.
And when you got Rudy that shows up last night, and he's just like, I saw it from multiple people, Phil Mackey, Judd Zolgad, a bunch of local
17
people.
rebounds. What?
I mean, he said we're not losing tonight, and that was the highest point in his Minnesota tenure.
They've got
30
the alleys.
35 points.
They got the alleys
crazy.
and the lobs going perfect with him now. I think they've got him at the right angle of the basket where he's catching and multitasking to the jams or the layups.
Yep.
Way better than what, if you would have rewound the tape about 4 or 5 months ago. It just seems the footwork and where they're feeding him is way better than when they first started. And Julius has been absolutely on fire. I think that guy,
like completely different page from like maybe the first 20 games of the
he's
season.
out. Well, they're in
Chemistry.
sync. They're in
Yeah,
sync.
yeah, they're in
It's
sync.
it's good. But then you have Jaden McDaniels who can defend almost anybody.
And Nikhil Alexander Walker.
6'10". I thought he was hurt for a second when he went underneath. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I was
He's
like,
only
uh-oh.
hitting 9 out of 21 in the last 9 out of 21 attempts in the last 3 games.
He's
Not-
been very,
not
very good.
9 out of 21. Is that good?
50%.
I mean, pretty close at 50. I mean,
That's impressive.
I feel like arguably if you can
If you're
consistently
shooting
hit
50%,
yeah, if you can hit about
Every other
40%,
shot. Every other shot. Yeah, I get it. But
especially 3-pointers, if you're
But if
hitting
you're at 50?
yeah, that's pretty.
I don't care what league you're in. I'm in. I'll
you're
take
dialed.
it. You can play on my team.
You're dialed.
but out
Dante's
of,
playing very well.
out of that stats, just make clear, that's he's missed all 3 points. It says 9 out of 21 in the last 3 games, missing all 3-point attempts.
If they
I mean,
So
9
it's
out of
not-
21 still not.
No, it's not. I'm just saying that's not great. It's great. It's great as long as you're not shooting 3 points.
if they don't
Nas is terrific though. Like
Yeah.
he flows the game really well. I like him when he has the ball in his hands, and I like it when he gets it back. Mm-hmm. Just that simple.
Yeah.
So if they make the playoffs, don't have to play in the play-in. They get 9 days off.
When if they
9
win,
days to rest.
If they,
That's huge.
if they win Sunday,
when you're
that's
in.
what's at stake.
and then
when you're in.
if
Because
we-
they still could get the 4
And
seed.
if they wouldn't have
did a
blown
full
that lead to
breakdown.
Milwaukee, they most likely would have been the 4 seed.
Correct.
and then we play who
That's
the Lakers.
insane. Yeah, and then if you take 2 Pelicans losses,
That's
one
who we
of,
won.
one of the 2 losses to Portland. If you take the Washington loss and maybe another one that's 5 more games, they're clearly the 2 seed. But they dicked around with games they shouldn't have because they just thought they could. Immature.
Yeah.
It's overly an immature team, and I do think they've gotten a lot more mature over time. It's just their superstar hasn't figured it out. Does anybody have the balls to call that out in this town?
Oh, for
Probably
sure.
not.
Well, we just did.
Yeah,
But has
for sure.
anybody done it really? Or are they like, oh, well,
No,
that's
people
bullshit.
are. People are.
I mean, I've heard Finch
People are-
make comments about it before.
No one coach can control that type of behavior. I don't care who you are.
Well,
unless
it's-
you just sit them down and say, sit over here.
No coach. Honestly, no coach should have to deal with
You're a professional.
that behavior.
Be a professional. Shut
professional.
up. Right?
And I think what you said in the beginning was it's a business treated as such.
Yeah, and they should make him. If you are his coach, I'd say make a statement to the public, please, about that you regret doing this and you're
Maybe the players
It's embarrassing.
actually.
Yeah.
Maybe the players should go through some kind of class.
At least,
some
at
kind
least
of
once
like
he says that,
before
then we know
entering
that he.
to the
Once he makes that
NBA.
comment,
What
at least we know he is evolving.
But we don't need a bunch of
if
thugs.
you're his teammate and you just took your 18th technical, what do you think they're doing in the locker room?
Isn't
Oh.
it that many?
Yeah.
It's horrible.
18.
Yeah.
That's like 1 every 4 games.
Yeah.
That's 25% of the season.
That's like
basically.
That's
like
a
an
lot.
When did the
What the
suspensions
hell is
kick
going
in?
on? Shut up.
He's a bitch.
When do the suspensions
He's a
kick in?
complete bitch.
They've already started to. He's already suspended.
He doesn't care about the suspensions. He cares about his money. Take the money.
Well, if he cares about the money, he should change his.
Well, I know of a
his
game they
reputation.
lost that he wasn't in, that he could have been in, that he's that valuable to this team, where they would, take that game alone, they would forget about the Bucks game, where he's launching threes all over the place aimlessly. But you take that game itself and you say you'd be a 4 seed and home for a series. Instead, you're dicking around with a game. Oops, that you're not in. If I'm running this team, I'm beginning to look at there's superstars that get traded all the time in the NBA. I mean, look at that.
Look what just
How many
happened.
teams go bell to bell
Luka.
with the same team? Luka, great example. But think about all the stars that get moved for various reasons. He's not immune to it. Maybe he wants to go. I don't know. What's going on?
You see,
Right, maybe he doesn't care.
Why don't you
Yeah.
get it?
Or why don't you just care enough?
Did you see the speaking of the Lakers, who we could play next? Did you see Luka's alley oop to LeBron?
No.
Holy
Missed it.
smacks, that was.
You like it?
They're
Priceless.
They're together. They got it going on.
But I think the
that's a
point that
scary
you said-
matchup.
Yeah.
You said that
Especially in the playoffs.
you would
That's what the Wolves will
favor
have.
or you would prefer the Timberwolves matching up against the Lakers versus any other team.
Well, I don't think I would. I mean, now that the
fun to
Nuggets have been
watch.
sorted out with the coach being fired, and they seem to really be finding their groove with what they can do and what they're capable of with the best player in the world, who averages a triple-double. I mean, I know we've had our run with them, but that dynamic changed overnight. And so when that firing first occurred, I think we were all like, what are they doing? You know, why? But then when you learn more about the situation and how much he had lost the credibility with the team with his intensity, coaches that are intense like that last for 3 to 5 years. Now, he lasted much longer. I think it was year 7 where they won an NBA title, or 8, whatever it was, and which is awesome for them. But he clearly he lost that room, and he lost that team, and they seem re-energized. And they got a guy in Adelman. He watched his dad coach. He's been around it forever. He knows what it takes, and you kind of feel like that's the team I wouldn't want. I wouldn't want them. I don't care how well the Wolves. It's not the same right now. Stay away from them.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's interesting just thinking about the coaching dilemma that a lot of teams face, and I know there was even some speculation about people putting out, would you move Finch, for Denver's coach? And I'm like, well, I don't necessarily see anything, blatantly wrong with Finch. I think he's been able to do something pretty incredible given the pieces that we've been able to have.
Players coach.
Yeah, and so I think it's a good fit, and it's easier said than done to make some of these moves where it can completely shift the locker room and the culture of these different organizations. I mean, it's just like some of these deals, some of these trades that go down. It looks great on paper, but then once they get on the field, once they get on the court, you see that it doesn't quite materialize the way that you thought it would. So. It's one thing to put out some of these different statements and then make some of these moves. For me, it's interesting seeing that it happened in the time that it did. Right before the end of the season to move on. Like something must, and that's what a couple people had said.
It had to have been an emergency.
It had to be really bad for something like that to happen with just a couple games left in the season, like blatantly wrong, where they didn't even want him to be there for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, Finchie is like 200 and 150 as a coach here. He's had winning seasons for full seasons every year he's been here.
Yeah.
Only Flip Saunders did that back in the KG era. He's got a team that I think has energized this town, and we need that in the winter level of sports, which has been just the great abyss. If you go to St. Paul, that's just been a shit show, in my opinion. We'll get there next. I'm starting to kind of segue into it.
Oh, starting to go
But I do
south.
think the Timberwolves have been,
They're the laughing stock of the league.
Well, here's the situation. Here's the bad. That was the good. The Wolves are in position to have those days off. They're in position to avoid the play-in, which they should be, and they're better than that. But when you look at how the West is so compressed and so competitive, that's what a salary cap does for you. Major League Baseball. That's a big situation there, which I think has been a lot of fun. And they've, they're one win off a 50-win season again. They had 56 last year.
Which is pretty freaking good.
So Chris Finch has done nothing but gain my confidence as a coach, and I love what he's done with his team. He's got a lot of characters. They've blended this thing beautifully, and it's gone really good.
Yep.
What's interesting now is with Booth being fired as the general manager with Carl in Denver.
Yep.
does that mean Chris Conley with an out could be lured with a huge contract back to Denver?
Yes.
There was some interesting speculation on that too.
Doesn't mean it will happen, but it's going to be a conversation piece. It's real.
Oh, he's going to want to win one here before that, I think. That's why he came here.
No, he's going to want the paycheck.
Agreed.
You want him to
It's all
win
about-
here.
It's all about
Yeah.
the money.
Well,
It's all
I
about
can
the
see
money.
both. I can see
It's a
both.
business.
The Wolves will be good for a while.
NBA
That's the other good-
championships are never a guarantee. And you go where the work environment is the best and where the check is, period.
Yep.
And if you're good enough, you'll build an NBA champion anywhere. But that team that won in Denver was his team.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we need
Losing Caldwell
Luka.
Pope has really hurt them,
Yeah.
too.
We need Luka.
Say that again.
Losing Caldwell Pope really hurt
Yeah.
them a lot. Okay, so on to the Minnesota Wild.
Uh-oh.
Winning, you're in.
Different story.
Yeah, I mean this is the bad. Winning you're in. This team has been incredibly frustrating to me because where I get bummed out on teams is if you control what you can control, that's good. If there are things you can't control, if you're just not as good, or you just don't have the talent, or you just don't have the goaltending, whatever. But if your effort sucks, if you can't bear down and win draws,
Keeping everyone healthy.
if you can't win a board battle, if you can't win a race to the puck, everybody gets hurt. So
Your host.
I'm done with the health excuse from the scribes here. Not an excuse. Who's there needs to do what they need to do. Effort is something you, and me, and Doc can control. We can't control if they're better than us. But what I did see last night is a team that's now 3-0 against the Minnesota Wild, who all they needed to do was win in regulation. Okay, it doesn't mean you're guaranteed to win, but it does mean you've got to put the effort forth to at least give yourself a chance to win. And what happened was the Calgary Flames did exactly what they do every time they play the Minnesota Wild. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're badder. They're just like the Jets. They come in and they bump them. Ooh, I got spun off the puck. They get bumped. Then they don't want to deal with it, and then they race. Then they race to the corner and win every puck race. You've got defensemen fumbling pucks, that Faber thing in the corner. Oh, I took the local native son, sorry. But he fumbled that thing away. Boom, they score. It just goes on and on and on. And then there was just like zero urgency
And execution.
And
to the
not
game.
a lot
and
of
the reason
swagger.
there wasn't
No
urgency
swagger.
to the game was because the Calgary Flames came in and played with tempo, with pace, and a ferocity that they're not comfortable with. If they're the ones that have the tempo and pace, they can't handle it when someone dictates the pace. So if I'm the Vancouver Canucks, who still have life,
Is that tonight?
yes, they're playing
Oh,
for
boy.
something. If the Wild lose tonight, my prediction of them not being in the playoffs will be correct.
You
Wow,
may be
because-
right.
Because
So-
Calgary
so-
just
so-
has to win
yeah,
out.
So that you love the Wild.
Yeah,
I
very
would
much
like
so.
to love the Wild,
From-
but I'm not.
But he
I'm
doesn't.
Not,
He
but-
doesn't. It's
no,
okay.
No,
Clearly,
but okay.
clearly.
But here's the thing:
From the doc.
if your effort is bullshit,
Then yes.
and it's been that bad, and when you hear the guys say the same thing since January, I don't know, we just weren't ready. We weren't. We just weren't ready to. What do you mean you're not ready to play? You're paid to do this.
Yeah.
How hard is it? Well, we play 82 games. Then don't play.
From the
God!
doc perspective,
I don't know.
I always think Gorgie's interviews are the bellwether. When Gorgie's
You wouldn't say-
You wouldn't say
Gorgie's
that to
down,
Boldy. You would not say this to Boldy. I'm
Dude.
just saying right now.
dude, when Gorgie's down on his
What-
interview,
what
or
do
any player that's fucking playing.
he's ready.
I'm
like,
saying this
honestly.
to the team.
You're not saying this to the Wild team. This is not your hey, this is what I would say to the whole Wild team if they
I'm
were
not
here.
saying it to. Well, sure, I would too.
Oh well, good job.
I would too. That's bullshit.
Well, I'm going to bring a handful of fuckers over here,
Yeah, let's do it.
Bring it on.
and you're going to tell them that.
There's nothing There's nothing I'm not saying.
No, I know that.
isn't
I'm being
true.
sarcastic.
No,
I get it.
it's
I
not
get
true.
it.
I'm
But
not
you're
a
not gonna-
fanboy. I'm going to tell you
It's
the
not
truth.
about being fanboy.
Well, it is.
Hey, do you know they have a 20% chance of winning the Stanley Cup right now?
No, they're not gonna. They're not even gonna make it.
20%.
Okay, what were you saying, Doc? Doc, what were you saying?
I was just saying, like Gorgie's interviews are the bellwether. Like last night, intermission between second and third period was not good. So I just Gorgie's forever the guy that is like positive wild. Like when he's when the interview questions take a turn for the South, I'm like, oh shit. Because he's so close. He's so close.
What did he say?
I just it wasn't what he said. It was just more like the tone.
The tone.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was very like I didn't see that because I dipped back over to the Wolves, but it was probably very almost like you were at a funeral type of scenario.
Yeah.
When you have a coach,
which is out of
when you have a coach
character.
that said we had the second best effort of the two teams. I mean, he's saying the same thing I am. It's like he can't lace him up. He can't grab the bat for the Twins. These guys, like, they got to figure out. So they've got a definite problem of wanting to put in I have said privately to my buddy Pete Henches many times, this team looks to me like a team that has kind of mailed it in over the past month and a half.
That's too bad. That's amazing to me.
You know what I mean,
because
though?
it's so disrespectful to your teammates to not be putting in 100% effort.
I get
Not
where
to
you're
mention the fans, but they don't care as much about the fans.
I get where you're coming from, Pete. But and granted, it was the Sharks. But when they came back and scored those goals, it felt like it was a new.
Yes.
And none of you guys wanted to hear this.
I get
Doc.
it. That's a shark. I get it's
Doc,
that the Sharks.
None of you wanted to hear it from me, but I was ragingly concerned about their defensive zone coverage. And even John Hines said, it
was terrible.
We got into a pond hockey game with those guys. And you know what? You want to get into the playoffs, you got to play playoff hockey. Yeah. And that is nothing close to it.
No.
And that was a joke. And then they got into a team that was playing playoff hockey with them.
Yeah.
Who cared? And they got steamrolled.
Yep.
You don't deserve to win in that case. And by the way, they've lost on their Sterling Road record. Now 6 in a row have been L's on the road, about to be 7 tonight.
So okay,
In a row.
Okay,
You think they lose tonight?
I'm getting the fork out sticking up.
So
tonight's a big-
if the
big
Wild
test.
win the next 2, they should be in theory.
They would be in. Win 2 and you're in. They need
Steak dinner
3
on
out of 4
Pete.
points. Fine.
Yeah.
They need 3 out of 4
Okay, 3 out of 4.
to get it done.
Okay.
And that's great. And if they don't, stakes on me.
all right. I'm gonna say this. All kidding aside,
But if they do, if
All-
they make it, stakes
all
on me.
kidding
But
aside-
Stakes on you.
Change that.
Okay.
stakes
all
on me.
kidding aside, obviously we all know your hockey. You've done it for a long time. And earlier weeks ago you were talking
Land
about
the plane, Bernsey.
Well, no, all weeks ago you were talking about them not showing up and they're not going to make the playoffs. And I mean, you're more right now than wrong.
We're here.
Yes.
Exactly. And so I'm holding my breath, but we'll see what happens. I think you are right, and I don't see them going to the playoffs.
It's tough.
Yeah, it is. It's a.
Don't see them going.
Though it's kind of out of their hands.
I really
If they
don't.
want to go, they'll go.
I think had they
If they want to go, they'll go. I think we could unanimously agree with that.
We've been saying that for 3 weeks.
it's
we
this is do or die.
not.
Well, they're
And
big sticks. They're big scorers that just came back.
For 2
They've
games-
got to score
The only thing
against
to win
a
2
team
games
like
in
Calgary.
a row. Not gonna happen.
I know. I don't know if they can pull
don't see
4
it.
points to the next 2.
I don't see
tonight.
it.
Okay.
I love
I
the
will say
Wild.
this. I will put a caveat. The one thing they've always done, and I've said this before right here, this space. If they have a bad outing, they usually wrap that up with a really good outing. So like when they took a dump in New York against the
positivity.
Islanders, they came back and they needed overtime, granted, to beat the Stars, but that's still 2 points and it's a win. That was a good thing.
Sure.
They've done that many times.
This could be one of the times.
I'm not sure. Just based off of what I saw, it could be.
Yep.
I mean, and it could be one of those things like, oh, they're there. But it's one of those things where what I
not
saw
consistent.
last night in an absolute desperation, must-win and in moment, I saw a flat line. Like
Falling apart.
everybody did. Read anybody's
It
take
was
on it.
it was a
You saw
great
it.
first period. What they didn't
First
have the
half of the first period.
Yep.
They
didn't have the
went
shots.
toe-to-toe
They didn't have the shots they needed.
because they started cinching in on them.
Yep.
But
No, I know.
But
They
I don't
played
know
it-
if they won
Calgary
one
played a
race
great
to
game.
one puck. I don't really know if they did.
It was a different tempo.
By the way-
They could not keep up. They were playing Calgary's game.
Trenyon with a nice, and they have 3 times against them too. That's why Calgary's 3-0 against the Wild. Trenyon had a nice goal, by the way.
That was
So then
How about the save by Gus?
that made the top 10.
yeah,
Oh, it
that's as a goaltender, you'll always say, yeah, the reason you're making that save is because you're out of position. But yeah, that was a good save.
Well, otherwise it would have been 5-zip.
Yeah, that would have been even worse.
Well, they've allowed 11 goals in the last 2 games, and that's not a good look.
No.
That's kind of hard to win games.
Against 2 teams that are like the bottom, the second from the bottom. The bottom 3 teams in scoring in the league are Nashville, Calgary, and San Jose jumped them all because they scored 7 on the Wild. But those are the 3 lowest scoring teams.
Calgary is one of the lowest scoring
they came in with
teams.
202 goals for.
Holy shit!
And they just put work on us.
They just proved
Does
that
Vancouver
they
have anything
proved
to
that
play
if you
for?
work hard, yes, they
Okay.
could. They very very fringe.
Okay.
They need St. Louis to lose, but you take care of business and you win, and you play to win. So then I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, you've got all these guys coming through. Why has Travis Boyd never been up? He's got 299 NHL games. He leads the Iowa Wild by 17, almost 20 points in production. He's played. He plays the way I like guys to play, which is all 3 zones. He's ferocious. He's not like a heavy hitter, but he competes, and he's got a compete level that matters. Why is he not up here? Why did they give up on Sammy Walker, who's getting close to a point a game now with the Utah minor league team? Where is he? Like, where are all these guys? Everybody but those guys. I find that interesting. I would say
Sammy's all about
I would
speed.
say, if I had an opinion, Johansson, Hartman, Bogosian, Chisholm, Merrill, Shore, and then like the Brazeau deal or whatever. Like, what was that about? Laco is gone for that. Anyway, those guys. How can you have them on this team next year?
You don't.
You got to start. I think we'll see a lot of movement and changes.
Yeah.
There's some no move clauses. You got to start moving. But I just named some names.
No, names you have to.
Older guys. I don't know why Laco was traded for that guy. I have no idea. How about David Urasek, that pick, that trade? All the picks. He has 7 assists in 27 games in Iowa. Boy, he's going to be something. And they got rid of a bunch. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And then they screwed with the mind of Jesper Wallstedt, the goaltender.
Goalie, yeah.
He's probably seen every psychologist this and that side of the river.
Well, he was expected to be
Poor guy.
almost like a starter
He
this
was
year,
told to
right?
get an apartment in St. Paul, and he hasn't. I mean,
Yeah.
now he's got an 880 save percentage, which won't get you promoted anywhere. So did they ruin that guy? Maybe.
Probably.
I don't know. Now the other party would say, "Well, if he's that fragile," but you screwed with the youngsters. Had their
Overpromise and
boys.
deliver.
Well, again, it's
But
the cap
do you-
situation. It's all of it. But
No,
they
I
should
know,
never
but I
have
mean-
said it.
At
Is
the
it,
end of
is
the
it a
day-
cap situation, or is it just respect to Flower to get to have him play his last season?
Part of that, but they can't afford to have 3 goalies on the roster. That
No,
one
right.
they're not playing.
Correct.
But I really do think they thought they were going to do with some rotational thing.
Yep.
What I think really part of the deal is the question would be, why didn't this team put Kaprizov and Ek on long-term IR? Why didn't they? Was it because they don't have the cash flow to pay for other guys? Maybe. Because they would have had the cap space. I think just outside, I don't have any facts. Outside looking, I think this team is cash poor.
Yeah, I would agree.
Wow.
I do.
I love that.
I would agree.
That we're making news here.
I love that.
So
You mean as far as the ownership is concerned?
yeah, I don't think they had. I don't think they wanted to spend that extra money because they don't
they
have
don't
it.
have it.
Because if they did, they would have.
So the transparency of not keeping them, letting us know exactly was all kept secrets for cash.
Just a theory.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And
And
that-
you might be right. You probably are right.
On top of that, you say, okay, I get it that the asking prices for some of these guys that are high bucks, that would have been really good, were probably too high because that list of guys that I don't see where they'd have room with what's coming, those guys are all going to have to, they'd have to move people.
Yeah.
So, and who would that be? And they all have no moves. Okay. Now on to the ugly.
Oh boy.
That was the bad.
Wow. I don't want to hear the ugly then. if that was only
Give it to us.
bad.
I think the worst thing that could ever happen to a pro sports team is apathy. And that's what's happened to the Minnesota Twins. It is so apathetic down there. Nobody's even looking. Nobody cares. There's no excitement about this team. I don't know. I don't
Weren't we
get
a
excited.
few weeks ago like really optimistic, boys?
Well, it was spring, you know.
I
Hope
wasn't.
springs
All I
eternal.
gotta say is that I'm glad I didn't spend that money to buy the package to watch them.
Well, I'm okay with it
It's
because I'm a
early.
sports fan.
Yeah, it's
I
still
saw them too.
So I'm breaking it down and I'm seeing why they suck.
Why else?
Okay.
Why else do they
Well,
suck?
here's why they suck.
You were making some good points about certain position players.
Well, we'll start first with starting pitching and then the bullpen. The starting pitching it started off very slow, but you can kind of expect that when a season starts.
Yeah,
Doesn't seem to
first sample
happen
starts.
for others, but you can,
Always seems to find a way for us.
it does somewhat, you know. But Ober was so good the other night. He was 73 pitches through 6 innings, and he was on the way to shower with the boys. Now, I did do some looking last year. Whoa!
What is that?
Doc, do you got something?
It's me.
Okay, that derailed us. Now, when you look at when you looked at the Twins, I thought they were pulling him early, but it turns out they were right in the middle of the league as far as the length that the starters would give you to an outing. But this is what drives me nuts. When a guy's at 73 pitches through 6, even a guy coaching the 10-year-olds on Braemar 4 knows you keep riding your horse if he's going good.
Yeah.
You don't yank him. And they did. Well, we got the best bullpen in the world. Okay, sure, maybe. I don't know. But, Cole
Why chance
Sands
it?
hadn't given up a run.
Yeah.
Law of averages say, boom, he gives up a run or two in Kauffman Stadium, and it's over. They lose. So it's just like you can chase yourself out of games, and it's
See,
just,
that's where it's just like sometimes there's such a focus on the analytics or the, as we've referenced before, the Moneyball, movie itself. It's like
if everybody's playing
there should be-
Moneyball,
there should be
nobody's going to win. You don't have an edge.
There's got to be that
can't
gut
stand
instinct.
Moneyball.
There's got to be that gut instinct, like you said. If someone's hot, if someone's
keep 'em in.
if someone's
Just keep 'em in.
dealing, you ride with them. And if they maybe give up a couple of hits and the bases get
But that's what you learned as a coach of fucking basics, right?
It's
I mean,
simple.
if they're doing well, keep them
It-
in.
But to
it's
not even give
simple.
them a shot, I mean, that's just like debilitating to the pitcher themselves.
David Festa is rolling along. He's been through 4 1/3. I think he was going to start working his way through the third time. And the analytics say that these guys can't do well 3 times through. Well, how are you ever going to do well if you don't do it? So you bring
You
in
have to.
Jorge. You bring in Jorge to take over, and it was 4-1. I flipped over to the Wolves, and they were suddenly down 5-4 in 1 inning. The same guy that imploded in Houston, that really started that whole sink. Remember when they went to Houston, got worked, blew a big lead with him. Go to San Diego. I think with him, same thing happens again. Here he is on the roster, has electric stuff, but he gets hit. I don't know. Why wouldn't? If your result is the same, it's easy to say because hindsight's 20/20. Why wouldn't you let Festa try to go a third time through then?
right.
You
Why
have to.
not?
Yeah.
You have
What
to.
do you have to lose?
You have
Well,
to.
right. I mean,
He's doing great.
The result was no different.
Yeah.
So Carlos Correa is just a stud. That guy's so good.
Yeah.
He's a real man's
He's
man.
a
He's a good
physical
player.
specimen.
Buxton stayed healthy. I really like Bader a lot in the outfield. I
Bader's
like
been
his
great.
bat. He's been excellent. And that guy's going to endear himself to the Twins fan if he hasn't already.
He's the shiny bright spot so far.
100%. But so is Buxton and Correa. Those 3 have been absolutely outstanding, I think.
Well, we're
There's a black hole at third base defensively. It's atrocious. They're just swatting it around out there. There's a
Swatting it
black
around.
hole at second base where it's just straight wickets. It's just, I mean, when you're the right
Oh,
fielder,
boy.
you know you're coming on to make the play. I mean, it's just defensively, I just don't think they're that good on the infield, except for Correa. I do like Ty France, but they just haven't synced this thing together. I haven't really given up on that team, to be honest with you.
4 wins, 10 losses. They're 4.5 off the pace, but we play the Tigers.
They're 2-9 against major league teams and 2-1 against the Chicago White Sox.
Oh boy.
That's just how it goes. It just is what it is. But I think the bigger story is the apathy that the market's feeling, and it's really ugly. I think people are really frustrated with this ownership group. They've extended the buy-in window quite a bit. So,
No suitors out there.
all right, I've been on a full rampage talking amongst
So
ourselves.
no, I just want to say, can we just sit here and pay homage to JC's
Great
quarter
show.
zip? The Masters. I mean,
Well,
that's
that's what we're going to
obviously-
close with.
Well,
Are
good.
we there
That's a
right
good-
now?
Ole, ole. Yes, we are.
I want to get your guys' thoughts on
we are.
something, though, as we just kind of rally through that. Those three teams and where things are at.
Yep.
Let's start first with the Wolves, your takes there, and then follow up with the Wild and the Twins.
Wolves, I think, are going to. They have a better shot at closing out with a couple of wins than the Wild do. Unfortunately.
Yep. I'd agree.
Do
I
the
don't-
Wild make the playoffs or
I'm
not?
very indifferent about what's going to happen with the Wild, and if it's effort, then I think that's a terrible cancer to take to the end of the season. So I hope they win. I believe the Wolves are in a much better place. Twins, I don't want to give up. I hope they get to 500 soon.
You're saying it's early.
500.
Well, the great thing about
500
baseball is you can get things going.
They're 4-10. I mean, getting to 500 is going to be a big feat.
yeah, we're talking.
But
like
but if they can
50
win,
games.
if they can start winning,
Oof.
if they can win 3 out of 4, 2 out of 3,
If they can start
3 out of
winning
4,
series,
2 out of
win
3,
series.
that's all you got to do. If they do that, like let's say 4 or 5 times here and get a run, that's considered to me considered a run.
Yeah.
Then they can get there. But if they continue this kind of sputtering pace, there's nothing worse
They
than
have a
big
lot to
league
figure
team
out.
that's
They have a lot to figure
Baseball's
out.
so streaky. I mean, like you said, they got to find their way for a while.
They got time.
They got to get back on top, feel good about themselves.
I don't feel good.
Long season, fellas.
it just
Long
feels
season.
very
I know, but
stagnant.
you can't lay in the at
They've already been laying.
286
Yeah.
winning percentage for long because it hurts you mentally.
That's a 50-win
Correct.
pace.
Oh, God. Are you
I
serious?
did the math yesterday.
Ouch.
Yeah, they're on
my
like
God.
49, 50-win pace.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Don't get me started on
Same
that.
3.
So that's why they got to get out of that. They got to shake it.
Same-
They got to get to 500.
Yep.
And stay within 5 games of the pace, and I think they can find their way.
Timberwolves,
that.
Timberwolves, Twins, Wild in terms of confidence and belief in what they'll actually be able to do. Timberwolves, I think they might actually have a shot to, maybe they win maybe 2 series this year. Maybe they make a little bit of a run.
Do you think they can go to the conference finals again?
I think so.
Can they? So they can beat LA? You think?
I think so.
That's going to be a great series.
I think they have a good chance of matching up, especially if
Okay.
there's questions around injuries or who's actually going to be able to go. Wild, like you said, I think we
They
could
would most
collectively
likely
say
get
they've-
Houston in the second round. Then,
Okay, I'll take it.
yeah, me too.
That would be fun. There'd
Yep.
be lots of fireworks. Twins, I think they can get back to 5. They've just given where the management is and their willingness to spend money. They're always just going to be kind of meh. They're always going to hang in there. Maybe they'll be able to put up some streaks, and I hope they do. But I don't have high hopes. And then, like I said, for the Wild, I just don't get me wrong. I love going to Wild games. We had a great time last time we went. The atmosphere is electric there. But yeah, I don't know if
And
there's going to be much.
That was a crushing loss.
That was-
I love Minnesota sports, professional sports.
You do.
It's great. I do. I love going to the games. I love going to the games. I love watching them. But at the end of the day, it's about championships and wins. I don't think any one of them is going to win a championship this
But
year.
if we didn't get an
So,
inspirational
at the end of the
lift
day-
off of those
at the end of
7
the-
goals the other night, and
No, but at the
four
end of
from
the day,
Ack,
it doesn't
and-
matter.
But what about the 7 against? That didn't bother you at all?
I'm just
No,
saying,
it-
like
it
at
does,
the
but,
end of the
like,
day,
Just
at the end of
just
the
the
day.
drama of them coming back to
Yeah,
the
that's
first
great.
game and scoring goals. I mean, that
If that's
should-
what you
that
want
should have
at the end
been
of
a
the game.
good
Yeah.
lift for the team.
It doesn't matter a
It
lift or not.
lasted 4 hours.
I know.
At the end of the day, are we winning championships? Do we have a team that can win a championship? And right
Is
now,
that rhetorical?
I'm just saying, no, we don't have one team to do it. So,
Guys, this
next-
has got to be a short
This
one.
is the last minute of play in the
Let's
last
let's
takes.
talk Augusta.
Let's talk Augusta.
Okay.
Augusta.
Rose.
Have they
Rose
not,
leading
have
it.
they not done it right though? When you think
They always
about
do
it,
it right.
like it's just so pristine. It looks beautiful. The par 3 thing with the families and stuff. The way they have social media.
Oh, that was cute, huh?
Great
is
event.
awesome.
The
The
kids
McElroy thing
talking,
was
yes.
priceless.
Yes.
Sugar Shane Lowry out there with the full snap, couldn't believe it. I think it's amazing. Rosie, if he can go bell to bell and win this, I think
Bryson, though, is right behind.
I think he will be. I'm pulling for Rosie, but I think it's hard to go bell to bell.
Wags, you know that Justin Rose has 5 day 1 leads. It's more than anyone in the history.
I think he's had 3.
even-
One.
even
I think
more
he's
than
had
Nicholas.
3 1 and 2 day leads too.
Okay.
Here's a little.
I think.
here-
I don't know.
but,
But
he's,
it's
but
significant.
5 day one leads, never a green jacket.
It's hard to do.
Here's a slight
Bell
little
to bell.
twist. I think that McElroy has a chance. I think he's
Yeah,
been.
I do too.
He's put himself in a lot of spots where he's been able to get the Triple Crown, and I think he might actually do it.
Great
And
opportunity.
One other.
I have
fact-
him in my pool.
Agreed.
One other fact that I saw, and I'll end my thought here for today's discussion. I believe he has 21 top 10 finishes since 2016.
Yep.
That's the most
Yep.
on the tour. So he's always
I'm
been
going-
consistent.
I think-
He's always been very consistent.
I think Bryson DeChambeau is the guy this year.
He could be.
He's got those nice
he's
long
right there.
drives.
Yeah,
he's the
he's-
best putter.
He's got a really good head game too going
going with
right
Rory.
now. I like where his head's at. I picked Rory from the start just because I like the way he's playing on tour. I think he's been really good.
very
DeChambeau,
consistent.
Two doubles on day one, though, Wags.
yeah, but he righted that wrong yesterday, didn't he?
DeChambeau.
Yeah. The difference between a pro and you and me is he doesn't think about those doubles. And he comes out and starts birdieing all over the place.
Yeah, but he's sort of known for that.
yeah,
He
but
doesn't stay
he
mindful.
wins a lot.
And there,
I mean,
there was a quadruple too. Quadruple bogey
anyways.
yesterday.
I love the fact. I love the fact that Canada's Corey Connors is in the mix. I think he is sixth of the FedEx Cup standings right now. Don't turn your back on him. The dude is good player, and he's playing great golf as well. And then just looking through the rest of this leaderboard, what's been wonderful about this is we're not talking about live player that, PGA player this. Instead, they're all
Yes.
golfers, and I love that. And you don't feel that weird vibe on that this year, do you? You don't feel like nobody cares.
Yeah.
How about Koepka didn't make the cut?
Ouch.
Yeah, Johnny Rahm was buried down there too. Brooks. The problem is we can't see those guys on tour
Yep.
to see them right the ship like Vic did.
You have to play
at
your best.
Valspar.
You have to play
can't.
your best.
I love this, boys. I love this.
Guys, the 18th hole, at Augusta yesterday, are 2 birdies, 47 bogeys on the 18th.
Oh,
That's called getting gobbled
it's a
up.
tough
toughest
hole. Yeah,
Toughest
yeah.
hole.
Let's get out of here. I'm going to get home and watch
think
this
what
now.
Tiger Woods has done on it.
I'm gonna go rest to watch the Wild game.
All right.
It's moving
Here we
day
go.
at the Masters.
From the
Let's
Meta Sports
go.
League studios, it's the DigiFan Podcast. We're here every Friday or Saturday at noon or 1, either Central or Eastern. Find us
mother.
on X. So long.
I love the notes